All right. Are we live? Alrighty then. How's it going, everybody? This is yours truly, Rama Screen, covering movies, TV, and entertainment. Right now is Saturday night, February 9th, 2019. The new episode 9 of The Walking Dead Season 9, aka mid season premiere of The Walking Dead Season 9, aka the premiere episode of the second half of Season 9. Actually arrives tomorrow night, but it arrived tonight for those of us fans who are subscribers of AMC Premiere. So anyway, that's why I'm giving you this review pretty early. And just like with all my episode recaps and TV reviews, this will also contain spoilers. So heads up, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! You've been warned. I will be spilling some spoilers in this one, mostly because I'm recapping what happens in this new episode. Okay, the episode is titled Adaptation. There's a lot to unpack here, but let me just give you real quick. Let's start off with the official synopsis. The group unmasks a disturbing and dangerous new threat. An escaped captive revisits his past. And that escaped captive is none other than Negan, who, if you recall, we left off with Negan escaping from the jail cell that he was pretty much in for the past 6 years or so, and now he's out. I'll get to that in a moment. I have a few thoughts about that as well, but let's start with. I have my notes here. Let's start with the fact that Jesus died. Yep. So, spoiler alert again. Jesus got killed in the last week, I'm sorry, the previous episode, episode 8. And that's it. He's dead. If you think that's like a superficial wound, flesh wound or whatnot, no, no, no. He got stabbed right in the gut, right through the body. And in this episode, we see Aaron pretty much stabs or uh, st- sticks the knife through Jesus' head to make sure that Jesus doesn't turn into a zombie, because that's what they do, right? After you die, um, somebody will do the favor of stabbing you in the head. And so I don't want to spend too long on this, but I just want to say that I remember the first time Jesus showed up on The Walking Dead. Remember that? It was season 6. Yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he's only been on the show for 4 seasons. Excuse me. It was, I believe, 2016, and it was Daryl and Rick that encountered Jesus. And over the seasons, over the years, we see Jesus becoming more and more of a prominent leader. Now, he was a leader also this past first half of season 9, because uh, well, I don't want to say first half, by the end of it, I guess you could say, because Maggie supposedly left during the 6 years. We don't know what happened to Maggie, and it's because actress Lauren Cohen, who plays Maggie, has disputes or disagreements with AMC about her contract. So she left, and she's on a news show now on ABC. And so Jesus is supposed to be the leader of the Hilltop, or has been at least, supposedly, for the past 6 years. And so, and if you recall, Jesus is also the same guy who prevented Maggie from killing all the saviors. Do you remember that? Because Maggie wanted to slaughter them all because the saviors killed Glenn, and they, at one point, the Hilltop actually had the saviors imprisoned um, in their yard. And Jesus said, "Don't kill them, don't kill them. That we got to be better than this. We got to be." So my point is that there were times when Jesus was kind of annoying, because I was on the side of Maggie. It's like, these guys are evil. Why did we keep them alive? But on the other hand, it was good that Jesus prevented that from happening, because we would not have had, characters like the one that Callan McAuliffe plays. When Callan McAuliffe, the character, his name is Alden, who is now becoming more of a prominent leader also in the community, or one of the leaders. So Jesus was annoying in that way, in that he's so idealistic. You know what I'm saying? Um, Strangely enough, he kind of at least gave some effort to live up to his name, Jesus. Man, what a burden to carry such a name, so heavy. And um, but at the same time, he was on the good side. His goodness can get really annoying sometimes because he's such an idealist. But there are times when you need somebody like Jesus in your life. Not necessarily a perfect angel, but somebody that could like whisper to you, "Hey, maybe we could go another route about this instead of just killing them off." Um, so the actor's name is Thomas Paine. Gonna miss him. He's a fantastic actor. Um, to be honest, I haven't seen any other movies or TV shows that he's done. Um, or I may have overlooked him when I watched those shows, probably. But I wish him the best. Now that he's moving on to hopefully better things. um, okay, that's all the note that I have about Jesus. May Jesus rest in peace, and best wishes to actor Thomas Paine. Okay, the next thing I have on my note here is regarding Judith. Judith Grimes. Holy crap! In this episode, little ass kicker Judith is an even more badass than you think she was. Because we've kind of caught glimpses of Judith in what is he, 6 years old, probably 7 years old, well, maybe 8 years old. She's wearing her dad's hat. She's being as tough as Carl. And if you remember, in my previous opinion about this middle school, let's just call it middle school Judith, is that I said to you that I was a little bit irritated at the fact that this kid is not talking or behaving like a kid. Like, you could argue, like, well, Rama, maybe Judith has an old soul, or Judith has seen or has gone through a lot. She's lost a lot, so that's why she's acting like a grown up. But still, though, I was like, yeah, come on, an 8-year-old doesn't act like an 8-year-old. But in this episode, I must say, I kind of changed my mind a little bit. I'm a little impressed by Judith, and also the actress that plays her. Her name is Callie Fleming, because she is a badass. So Negan, in this episode, Negan quietly tries to escape Alexandria, right? When everybody's asleep, really dusk in the morning. Uh, I'm sorry, I want to say dawn, dusk, whatever I'm talking about. Really dawn, not necessarily too dark, but really, really, early in the morning. And Judith comes out with her freaking gun, and she says something along the lines of, she's pointing the gun at Negan, and she says, "I thought you're smarter than this." And there's this exchange between them where it ends with Judith pretty much letting Negan go, which I think is pretty wise for her age. Again, like I said, she doesn't act and talk and behave like an 8-year-old, and it can rub you the wrong way when characters do like that, man. When characters don't behave their age. Um, but in this case, I was like really impressed. I was rooting for her, and I totally understand why she let Negan go. Uh, because Negan is the kind of person who has to see it for himself. He the way he argues, or his argument, not the way he argues, his argument to Judith is like, I don't belong here. My place is out there. Alexandria is okay now. It's a wonderland. What do I contribute here? You know, and Negan is the kind of person who, he's a leader. He's a leader. He leads. He doesn't really, follow. So he wants to know where his people are, and the not knowing bugs him. So he has to go out there, and I think Judith deep down knows that, because she's a freaking wise old soul 8-year-old. Uh, so I understand why she let him go. And before we get to the Negan, just want to say Judith is a really, really awesome, badass kid in this episode. Um, Later on, we also see Judith in the middle of the road shooting at Negan while Negan is riding his motorcycle towards her. I was like, what is going on? Where, I mean, how did she pop up right there in the middle of the road, in the middle of nowhere? Like, where did she come from? Like, did somebody, I mean, she's just a little kid. Like, she can't even ride a horse. How did she get to that middle of the road? It's just so insane how badass Judith is here. Um, it may, I think it may eventually become like, um something that the fans would kind of laugh at, because it's so comically hilarious, the idea that Judith just finds herself magically in the middle of the road out in the woods, shooting at Negan. um but for that split second, for that moment, she looks badass doing that. Okay, enough with Judith. So one of the Whispers is this new group who are gonna give Alexandrians and the Hilltops a hard time. And what they do is that they camouflage themselves as one of the walkers, or as the walkers, so they could walk with the dead. And I'm guessing they also cover themselves with uh, zombies blood or zombies guts, because that's what you do, right? Just like in I think the first season, Rick Grimes and Glenn cover themselves, after wearing poncho, they cover themselves in the in guts and blood all over, so that they could walk among the dead and won't get recognized. So I'm guessing that's what the Whispers do. Again, I haven't read the comic books, so those of you who read the comic books might know more than I am. I mean, might know more than I do. Um, so they wear the skin masks, so they look like walkers. And my first reaction when I saw that was, wow, these are basically cosplayers. You've seen zombie cosplayers at Comic Con or WonderCon or what have you, and none of them look as good or compelling or as convincing as these Whisperers, because, man, um, they look like the dead. I can't tell them apart. That's how good they are. They're probably the best cosplayers of zombie cosplayers ever. Um, and so one of the Whispers gets caught by Michonne and Rick, and they bring her to their jail cell. And remember, Henry is there because Henry's being punished. And they interrogate her. Her name is Lydia. And my thoughts about Lydia is that she's not revealing much. It seems that when Daryl presses her and intimidates her, and it looks like she fears for her life, because Daryl's a good interrogator, right? Daryl doesn't necessarily do Jack Bauer, because Jack Bauer would be like shoot. Jack Bauer would shoot, your kneecap, right? That's Jack Bauer would waterboard, right? Jack Bauer would like totally agree with the CIA methods, unfortunately, and the Guant. Jack Bauer would go Gitmo. Okay, he would go Gitmo. Um, Daryl Dixon only gives you the illusion of that, and that is enough to scare the shit out of her. But I think, at least this is my assessment of her reaction to Daryl's method, and Daryl himself kind of knows. I think she's bullshitting. I don't think she's not letting more than she lets on, basically, and it's revealed by the end of that interrogation, um, right after he's done with her, because in this episode, Henry, who listens from the other jail cell, tries to stop Daryl, because Daryl knows deep down, because Daryl smart that Daryl knows that Henry is um what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of volatile or emotional teenager, that he's still developing kind of mentally as a teenager. He's not wised up yet, Henry. So Daryl makes use of that, because Daryl knows that if he acts like the bad cop, Henry will be, without realizing it, he will be the good cop. He's like, Daryl, stop! You're hurting her. From the jail, like something along those lines. And Daryl knows, okay, once I leave this jail cell, these two, Lydia and Henry, are gonna have conversation. They're gonna have heart to heart talk. They're gonna be jail cell friends, and then I'm gonna be outside listening in, because you can, because the walls are pretty thin. Not the walls are pretty thin, but there's a jail cell, so there's like an opening, the window thing, and so Daryl just sits outside listening in to their conversation, and so basically, what I'm trying to say is that Daryl is using Henry without Henry realizing it, because Henry is so gullible and naive. He is gonna appeal to Lydia's whatever good side that she has, in hopes that she would open up to him, and then when she does, she would reveal, how many there are in the Whisperers, who their leader is, and then Daryl will be out there listening in and taking notes, and without breaking a sweat. So, it's a very effective strategy. And I read somewhere that torture doesn't really work, because if you torture somebody in interrogation, that person would do anything, or would say anything just to get the pain to stop. So you don't get the truth out of them, because all they want is the pain to stop. So they'll say anything, even though it's not true. Um, but if you appeal to them, and you kind of, I don't know, maybe connect with them, or make offering promises to them, and showing good faith to them, in time, eventually, um, they will get the illusion. At least they don't get it, but they will see that, oh, maybe I can trust him with my information. Um, that's what I read, at least. So I think that's what Daryl's doing, and I think it's gonna work out, and I think it's a very smart move on his part. Freaking Henry, man. He's so. At one point, he asks in this episode, like, "Wow, come on, man," because he's like, "Oh, I gotta go back to the cell again." And he says to Daryl's like, "I don't know what my part is in this place." Henry says that, like, "I don't know who I am here in the hilltop. I know who I was at the kingdom. Remember, the kingdom many of the people got slaughtered in the kingdom. Um, and then the kingdom is led by Ezekiel. So anyway, I know who I was back at the kingdom. I don't know who I am here." And basically, Daryl, without Henry realizing it, Daryl gives Henry a purpose. You're gonna be the guy that Lydia is gonna trust her secrets to, or information to. So interesting, fascinating stuff, fascinating development. I got two things on my notes here before we're done with this review. I want to say let's put three. Let's talk about Negan. Negan in this one, in this episode, he is, like I said, he escapes. Judith lets him go, and then Negan basically goes back to where the Savior used to live, that whole facility that looks like factory. Um, and he finds out that some of his followers have turned, well, yeah, basically his followers have turned into zombies or walkers. I think one of them is named Big Ridge. Don't know what happened to Simon. I was hoping to see Simon zombie. Um, and Negan tries his best to make the facility look like home again, or at least to make it feel like home to him. But it's just not working. On top of the fact that he doesn't have Lucille Bat anymore, all he has is a lead pipe. So there's no connection there. There's no endearing connection between him and the instrument. And then at one point, he gets chased by wild dogs that are probably hungry and wanting to tear him apart. Um, and at one point, Big Ridge is hanging out with other walkers. And Negan's just like, I thought we had something special going on. And so Negan tries and tries to, you know, open this area of the building, let's bust through that wall to see if there's something left that I can use or I can make to turn this into something that feels like a home, but it's just not working out. So at the end, he kills Big Rich, and and he rides off with his motorcycle. That's when he meets Judith in the middle of the freeway, a highway. Again, as I said earlier, how did Judith get there? Who the hell knows? That'll be the thing that the fans will laugh at for many times. Like, how the hell did she get in the middle of the highway? Who drove her there? That little kid. Um, so back to Negan. Negan is Negan is coming to terms that now he is a leader without followers, and that's painful because, again, as I said earlier, Negan is not a follower. He's a leader. He's a guy who gives out orders, but he doesn't have a people to lead anymore. And now he's rudderless and purposeless. So after he meets Judith in the highway, he says, because Judith asks him, like, so what are you gonna do? Once you're back at Alexandria, and Negan basically says, well, I'll let you know when I know, right? I don't know right now. I'll let you know when I know. Um, and I must say that I am very empathetic towards this Negan, the Negan right now, which is strange because in season 8, man, I was like, come on, kill Negan, kill Negan. Even when Rick ultimately decides to keep Negan alive, I was pissed. I was like, really? Really? You have 2 seasons with him. He kills all your friends. He kills Negan. I mean, he kills Glenn. He kills Abraham. He kills all your people, and his people kill your. I was like, really? You're gonna keep him alive? You're gonna put him in jail? What for Carl's kumbaya? Let's change the future for the better dream vision. I was like, dude, he's a dying kid. What does he know? So I was a little pissed. Um, Now I haven't read the comic books, but my theory is, I think that Negan is gonna be one of the good guys, and it's gonna be a long, rough road for him to gain or to win the trust of Rick's people, Alexandrians and the Hilltops, after what he did to many of their beloved ones. But I think eventually he's gonna prove himself worthy of being, if not their leader, at least their barking dog, their muscle at the very least. Right now, uh, which goes to the title of the episode, adaptation. Right now we're seeing the transition happening. Because Jesus died, Maggie left, Rick Grimes supposedly died, but of course he doesn't really die. He's gonna have his own TV movie, and then after season 10, as you probably have heard, Michonne will leave the show as well, and Michonne has been with the show since season 2. So we're seeing, the adaptation is a very fitting title to this episode, because at one point Michonne even says to Daryl, "Hey, Tara is a good leader, but Tara can't do it alone. Tara needs you." So Michonne is basically handing the baton also to Daryl, and Michonne says, "Hey, Daryl, I trust you because you're a good judge of character." And you've always heard, right, when the news about Rick Grimes, oh, I'm sorry, when the news about Andrew Lincoln leaving The Walking Dead hits the web, that news also comes with the information that they're prepping Daryl Dixon to become the next new Rick Grimes of the group. So we're seeing the changing of the leadership here, changing of the guard, changing of we're seeing the transition happening. And not only that, um, even with the younger characters like Enid and Alden, we're seeing them also taking charge, you know, um, having initiative to actually take part in this, and to call out, or to make calls on some things, to make decisions on some things. So I'm getting the sense that the writers are making them to have front and center roles, that we're gonna see more and more of Alden and Enid, to kind of test the water to see whether or not the fans are gonna warm up to the idea of them being the new leaders, as we're slowly and surely, um, you know, moving Michonne out of the equation, if you will. Um, so it's interesting to see that, and the thing with Lauren Cohen, her contract didn't work out well with AMC, so, and now they kill off Jesus, Thomas Paine's character. I'm beginning to think that the writers are really, really racking their brains to see how, because oh my God, just when they finally incorporate the Whisperers, right? This murderous new bad group. Just when they incorporate those characters from the comic books into the show, they're having these actors leaving. These Denai, Thomas Paine, and Lauren. So they're trying to figure out a way to continue the story, having Whisperers be part of it, and produce new heroes. New heroes will emerge, either the young ones, because Gabriel's not even in the picture anymore either. So either the young ones taking charge, or Daryl and Tara, and we'll see whether or not they will be as well received as when Rick and Michonne were in charge. Because man, Rick and Michonne, they leave, and Michonne will leave some pretty big shoes. Those guys are very charismatic. Um, those characters, man, are natural born leaders. But we'll see. We'll see how that transition goes. Last note before I leave, I just want to comment real quick about Alden. Alden's short quest with um, Dan Fogler's character Luke, because Luke is, or used to be, a music teacher back before the zombie apocalypse. My thoughts about that: it's an entertaining odd couple kind of journey that doesn't end well because they encounter the Whisperers by the end of this episode. We'll see whether or not they survive next week. But it's just, again, it's fun to see Dan Fogler. I've interviewed Dan Fogler once. I forgot for what independent movie it was, and I've met him also at the premiere party. Dan Fogler is one of the nicest fellas in the business, and it's cool that he's got that thing with Fantastic Beasts. He's the comic relief in the Fantastic Beast movies, and he's also the comic relief in The Walking Dead. Obviously, um, at least I get the sense that Dan Fogler's character Luke is not going to be staying around for a while. I want to say maybe either this season or next season we're gonna see him killed off maybe, because Dan Fogler is a movie star too, so he's got a lot of things going on for him. But it's cool that he's his contribution to this show is a guy that lightens up the mood a little bit, so it doesn't always get all serious and heavy. Um, so last before I just want to say, um, I'm curious to see Samantha Morton, the leader of the Whisperers. I love that actress. She's an Oscar nominated actress, and we still haven't seen her yet. So hopefully next week. We don't know, and I'm curious to see how Negan is gonna try to present his case to the Alexandrians. It's like, don't put me in jail anymore. Let me do something for you. I want to see what that something is. And so these are some of my questions that I'm really curious to know what the answers to. And okay, that's it. That's my long rant, my review of The Walking Dead season 9, episode 9. If you have seen it as well, maybe you'll have seen it tomorrow, or if you've seen it tonight through that AMC Premiere subscription, let me know your thoughts. What did you think of it, and what do you think about this transitioning of leadership that we're seeing? Are you liking it so far, or do you wish things have been the way they were? Are you sad about Jesus killed off? Are you gonna miss it? What are you gonna miss most about Jesus? And and do you think that this show has gone on too long? Because I always get that feeling. It's like, oh man, season 9, and then we're gonna have that Rick Grimes TV movie too, like the 3 TV movies, right? That's the deal. I was like, dang, they are milking this, man. They are milking Robert Kirkman's books down to the last drop. So, what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, subscribe to my channel, press that like button, and ring that bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. I could use all the support that you can give me, so I can continue reviewing movies and TVs, and also do red carpets and press junkets and all that good stuff. Please help support Rama Screen channel at patreon.com/ramascreen. Good night, everybody. Let's rock this.